27 has become the year that has almost ended me, but I am still here. I don't know if it's thankfully or luckily or apparently. I do not know, but I am still here. Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Wahukariuki, and I have been intending to do this video for a long time. I think since last year, July. Because when I first thought about this video, I thought of naming it like Hello 27 or something like that. But life has tuangad me. Life has nyoroshad me. Life has shown me shege. Yani. Oh my god. So welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, I am a trauma conscious educator. If you want to get me talking about anything, let it be healing, let it be trauma, let it be spirituality. These are the things of my heart and nature too. Okay. If you are coming back, thank you. It's been a minute. If there is somewhere where we can cancel subscription to adulthood, let me know. If there's someone I can talk to about my adulting, let me know, because things have not been going great. Things have actually been going quite terribly, if we are being honest. I turned 27 in 2023, that is last year, and 27 has become the year that has almost ended me, but I am still here. I don't know if it's thankfully or luckily or apparently. I do not know, but I am still here. 27 is a big girl age. 27 is now close to 30. I am no longer a child. I am somewhere in between young adulthood, where I finished school, and being a proper adult, which I think 30 is. So I am 27, and I am in a position where I do not feel like I am an adult or a properly functioning adult. Okay, now I do. When I turned 27, I did not feel like I was a properly functioning adult. Here's the thing. For most of my life, I have come to realize now that I am on this side of the line. I have been given direction on where to go, whether that is by my parents or by society or by the things that I believe or the things that I interpret in my head that this is what I am supposed to do. I was born not by choice. I was born and I was taken to school. And I went to school from the very young age of, I think, 3 years old up to 21 in campus. So that part of my life, let's say that it's pretty much figured out whether I want it or not. This is the direction that the family that I found myself in wanted for me, especially my father. So academically, he had a vision for me and I followed it. For between 33 and 21 years, I was the child that was trying to please their father. And I say father specifically because it's academics, to accomplish the things that he says that I can accomplish. So go to school because you have to go to school. Go to university and do education because this is the opportunity that has presented itself. But then that is over. That is done. And unfortunately, the person that was giving me direction in life is gone. He is no longer in this side of the world. He has transitioned, and I am here having accomplished everything that I thought my father wanted me to accomplish, and I don't know what to do with myself because now what? We have the degree, now what? I went ahead and I got a job, two teaching jobs, and I was fired from both of I was fired from both of those two teaching jobs in a span of 3 months. Yani unafutwa kazi, unatafuta kazi ingine. When you go into this new job, not even a month goes by, you are also fired from that one. So my sense of direction has been very wobbly because the thing I thought I'm gonna do I did not want to do, or the thing that I wanted to do did not want me to do it. That is teaching. I feel like education spit me out. A lot of people ask, why did you leave education? Would you go back to education? And I would, but there is so much trauma in my experience as a teacher. I have not healed. I need time, This is a whole other story, but I need time. So I stopped being a teacher and I took up writing. I became a freelance writer and I learned. And I started with academic writing, but that one was not for me. It's not my TU. And then I started article writing and copywriting, and I did that for a while. And then that was in 2019. And then somewhere in 2020, I decided that I want to follow a different path. So I started ghostwriting. Okay. So all this is me figuring out my adulting. But then I have realized that at some point, which I cannot pinpoint, somewhere along the way, the things that I knew as true stopped being true. The world that I knew stopped existing, and the path that I was following, it just ended abruptly, entirely, and I did not know what to do with myself. They usually say, I don't know who they are, but they usually say that when you are, I'm going to say science or research or studies, trauma has a way of keeping you in the age that you are when you experience a traumatic event. So if something traumatic happened to you when you are 7 years old, you stay a 7 year old by heart, by mind, by spirit for the longest time. Your body is growing and everything else is changing, but you stay in that particular age that you are when something traumatic happened to you. I was an adult, paying bills, making moves, doing my ghostwriting, earning money, being in relationships, and doing everything that an adult does, except I did not feel like an adult. I felt like an imposter. I felt like a child in the body of a big person, expected to deal with responsibilities, handling them anyway, because what choice did I have? I talk about trauma a lot. I talk about trauma because before 2019, I did not know what trauma was. Before 2019, I did not know the impact that trauma had in the way I was existing and living my life. When I was winning and doing adulting the way I thought that when I was winning, like if you asked me when I was on the right track, I wrote a book. It's called Limitless Existence. You can get a copy. I hope you get a copy. I write about how one day my life changed. I woke up one day knowing what my life was, and then I ended it without knowing what was happening. This was about the day that I went to teach my last class, my last day as a teacher. And this disruption came with a change in how my life was in this way. I was dealing with more than 50 to 100 people in a day. And then all of a sudden, I'm all alone in the house as a freelancer, no one to talk to. It's just me and my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions. And that made me look at myself and wonder, who am I? What am I doing? Do I know what I am doing? And I say I was a child in the body of an adult, or I felt like an imposter as an adult because I did not feel that I had autonomy. I did not feel that I owned myself and my choices. I did make my own choices, mostly as a rebellion to my environment, but I did not feel that I had the autonomy to make my own choices. First of all, I did not know who I was. I was whatever my environment wanted me to be. If my father wanted me to be academically smart and gifted, that is exactly what I was. If my mother wanted me to be the daughter who does dishes and laundry, and no, I was not that daughter. That was the one thing I did not please her. I did not please her in that way. But for most of my life and most of my situations and experiences, I was people pleasing and I was masking. I was hiding the trauma that I had gone through. I was trying to be a fully functioning adult, a fully functioning person, without focusing on the things that I had gone through. In Limitless Existence, I stand in front of the world and I write that I was sexually assaulted as a child, that this thing influenced who I am. I said that and I wrote that in 2020. Before 2020, these are things that I hid deep in my bones because I don't want people to know these things about me. When I quit teaching, or rather when I was fired, these things that I had kept deep within me came up. And the emotions that I was trying not to feel by keeping myself busy, by showing up the way that I was expected, it came out. It all came out. And one day in October, I found myself on the floor crying in fetal position, unable to breathe, not knowing what was happening because my life was okay. Everything was okay. So why am I like this? And I ended up in therapy. The first thing that Grace asked me was, what do you want to talk about? What are some things you want to address? And I had a lot to say. I want to talk about this and that and this and my upbringing and my background and why I feel this way. And that is when I learned about trauma. And I can say that since that moment in 2019, my life has completely changed. My life completely, entirely changed in ways that I could not even have imagined. I realized that I was a child in an adult's body. I realized that there are so many things that I was carrying with me that I should have let go a long time ago, but there was nowhere to put them. I was a child that had gone through things with no safe space to express these things. So the heaviness of my experiences, I had to carry myself. There was no one to help me with that. So I was on the right track. I was doing everything that I was supposed to do, expected to do, whatever, call it whatever. But I did not feel that the direction of my life was something that I was creating, that I was choosing. I was surviving. Circumstances shift, I shift with them. Things happen, I adapt. That is where I was. That is who I was. And I was not within myself. I was not in charge of myself. I did not have autonomy. I just was. I just was. And the most funny thing is, if you knew me or if you saw me in those periods of my life, in those seasons of my life, even I thought I was actually living my life for myself. Even I thought that I was making my choices for myself. Even I thought that I was in control until I realized I had no control. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing to do because I am expected to do. I did, you know? So a child in an adult body earning good money, but a child nonetheless. So when I go to the supermarket, I buy whatever I want. Everything I want, I buy. I do not even think about investing. And this has been my greatest lesson in this particular time, that I did not have the financial literacy. I did not have financial knowledge. I did not have any desire or direction to do my finances like an adult. There was no saving. It was just spend and spend and spend and spend and spend. So my inner child and my inner teenager, they came to play. They played. Oh my goodness, they played. They played. I look at the life I lived, the things I did with the money that I got back then, and I got good money. And I look at where I am now. Now I am. It's been 1 year and 2 months of struggling to pay rent, or every month I am either late for rent and I pay 2 weeks later or 3 weeks after the deadline and with interest. And by the time I am clearing the rent for February, March ndio hii, and I don't know what to do about March. This is my reality at the moment. And I look at where I was financially and I'm like, there are so many ways I could have made better decisions, but I didn't. I did not, and I take accountability for that. Food is so close to my heart. I my sister's children, or my nieces and my nephews, I am auntie for Tam Tam, because I am the auntie who's going to go and buy pizza for people. I am the auntie who's going to take people out. Because when I was spending money, I did not think about tomorrow. I thought about now, and what do I want, and how do I get it, and can I get it? So I got it. No financial direction or savviness whatsoever. And I regret that. I regret that terribly. Especially on days when I wake up and I'm like, oh my goodness, there is no food in this house. And I have no prospects for food. So today might be another day that I am going to go hungry. This is my lesson. These are my lessons. These are my lessons. Okay? I am an ill-equipped adult with very bad financial whatever know-how, and also relationships, the kind of relationships that I was in, where I looked for love, the things I accepted as love. I look at the kind of awareness I had when I walked into the world as an adult, in terms of how to interact with people and show up in the world and build myself and grow myself. And I was ill-equipped. What was I doing? What was I doing? What was I doing? Because it did feel like normal. But then now that I have gotten to a place where I have reconnected with who I am, and I am learning to stand on my own 2 feet and say, this is my skin, and this is who I am, and the things that I want are this and this and this and this. Now that I am learning who I am, I have some kind of self-awareness. What? I was on the right track, but then somewhere I lost my way. I cannot say where. But in this losing my way, I found myself. Okay? Because I am in a place where, yeah, my bank account is on zero. This is how you do zero. My M-Pesa has Fuliza. I have a Jahazi. I am in debt. It's not even funny. But I have never been more home within myself. I have never felt like this is my life, the way this feels like this is my life. And I am not moving all willy-nilly, and I am not trying to adapt to circumstances. I am actually aware that I create my reality. I get to choose what kind of future I want, and that the foundation that I am creating now speaks a lot about the future that I'm gonna have. That the things that I do now, I do them because they are aligned with who I am, not because I want to make anyone happy. I did not have that. So sure, money aside, but let's bring that money we've put aside. Let us put it in my bank account, please, and thank you. But that's the thing, right? The disruption in my life that caused me to be self-aware is also the thing that made me feel like everything I knew is true is no longer truth. The truths that I stood on, they are no longer truths. The world is bigger, the world is bolder. I have more responsibility than just being a good daughter and a good friend and a good sister. That I have the responsibility to be me, to do things for me, to explore what that means. And that became overwhelming, because what do you mean I have spent more than 2 decades of my life flapping in the wind with no direction, waiting to be told, turn right, turn left, do this? What do you mean that I have lived more than 2 decades without a backbone, really, with an illusion of one, but without one nonetheless? That I have to decide what kind of people that I am in relationship with, what kind of friends, what kind of partners, that I get to say, I am securing my future. This is the career path I want to follow. All these things, it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming, and I was trying to figure out how to do that, how to find my footing, how to find my grounding and continue. But then I got depressed. I got so depressed. I spent months in bed. If you have never struggled with your mental health, if you have a point of gratitude every day, let your gratitude be this. add this to your list, that your mental health has been good, that your mind has never tortured you enough that your body could not move. Be grateful for that, because it is horrible and terrible. I was wondering, where do I stand in the world? How do I move forward? So I am not a teacher anymore. I am not writing anymore, because writing was giving me something my therapist called compassion fatigue, causing more anxiety. So I stopped writing, and I am here thinking, so what am I going to do with my life, and how does this add up to ultimately the life that I want to create for myself in time? And these are heavy questions. I had a life, and then I didn't, and then I had to figure out what life meant. This feeling lost thing, this feeling like I do not know where I am going, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. This thing not only put me in bed for months, not only made my mind the most ugly place, this thing made me want to disappear. This thing made me want to give up. This thing made me want to die. It made me say, I think that might be enough life for now. Maybe we try in another lifetime, but this one we are not figuring out. This one we are trying our best, and our best is not besting. And every time I put my foot forward, I am pushed back. It's not working out. This thing blinded me. It blinded me. It made me forget my worth. It made me question my worth. It made me question my capacity and my capability. And I just lost it. I lost it. I forgot. I forgot that I was a writer. I forgot that I was an author. I forgot that I had written a book called Limitless Existence. Please get a copy. I forgot, and I stopped. I stopped believing in myself. I stopped saying that I am capable, and I am strong, and I am courageous, and I stopped all these things. I felt like there was nothing in me, and there was nothing I could do to get out of the situation that I was in. I felt like I was at my end, and there was no coming back. So I started thinking about how to just be done, end it all. I in my family, one person has died by suicide, who was my favorite cousin, one of my favorite cousins. He was gifted as a carpenter. He was gifted. The entire neighborhood did come to him for his skills, and then he just decided this was enough, you know. And we don't talk about these things, because when he transitioned, I did not know until I came back from school. Nilitoka shule, and I came home, and there was no one at home, and its neighbors who are saying, you don't know your family. They went for mazishi. I said, mazishi for who? Mazishi for nani? I was not told, but that's because they don't tell students these things. But that's the thing. This person decided that they had had enough, and they died by suicide, and that is all. This is not a conversation that we had, that we have. There's a story that my mom tells of someone else in the family who also died by suicide. And when they tell it, they look at the humor in how this person was acting, and that is all. And I have read something about my father's thoughts about suicide in his notes, but this is also not something we talk about. And here I am, 27 years old, accomplished in as many ways that I wanted to be accomplished, having fulfilled everything I thought I was going to fulfill, that I needed to fulfill, but so lost, so afraid, that it felt like this is the only way out. I am gonna I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna take my own life. I'm just gonna say enough is enough, and it's enough, and it's enough. I had this thought a lot, and there are so many days and so many nights that when I was dreading mornings, like I was literally dreading mornings. I was dreading waking up. I was dreading the light. I would watch the night pass, and with every hour that the night was passing, I would see the day coming. And when I saw the day coming, I would be afraid. So I started questioning because my life felt like this long thing that was not ending, with no breaks, with no hope, just a lot of faith and a lot of disappointment. And I would look at my house, the house that I was in before this one, and I would look at that house and I was like, if I did have the courage, because honestly, it's courage to say enough is enough and this is how I want to go. If I did have the courage, how would I do it? How would I take my own life? How would I just decide to end all of these things? And these were thoughts, just thoughts, just thoughts, until this one day where I was doing everything that I needed to do. I went to the office, I was working, and my water bill had become too much, and they had disconnected my water, and it had been like 5 days of surviving the best way I knew how. But that day I went to the office, and I just, it was a lot. It was a lot. When you make money and you pay bills and you are not left with anything, when you just have enough to get by, hand to mouth, barely, because you barely eat and you can barely make meals. And I am here, and the one thing that triggered me the most was the water. I was like, when I look at my capacity, when I look at where I am standing, I don't think I'll be able to get this water reconnected for like 2 weeks. And I can't take that. I cannot take that. That's just a lot. So that was the last straw. And I went into the office and I talked to one of my employers and I was like, hi, can I get just to go money just to cover my water bill, and then everything else is going to be okay? Because if I deal with this particular thing, everything else is going to be okay. But my employer couldn't show up for me, and I'm a freelancer in other ways. And the other employer I was expecting to show up for me by paying me, they did not pay me. They did not show up for the meeting. They did not do anything. And I was at the office feeling like this is my end. I am done. I have nothing left to give. I am completely, completely done. But then I remembered something, that I grew up in a community where when you felt defeated, you could say, hey, I felt defeated. Could you hold my hand for a minute? And I did the one thing that I had hoped never to do. I went on social media and I was like, hi, um, could you help me pay my water bill? And at that particular moment, I am feeling, I don't know, I don't like the word embarrassment or shame, but I am feeling some type of way that this is me exposing myself to the world. That by the time I am saying, hey, by the way, I am struggling financially, could you help me come up with 3,000 shillings to pay for my water bill? I am showing myself to the world. I have been hungry. I have almost been evicted. These things did not break me, but this one might. And rather than break, I'd rather ask for help. That day I had 100 bob. I had 100 shillings. And instead of wondering, oh, how do I use this 100 shillings? Maybe to buy some food, whatever. I did not think of that. I was thinking, how many painkillers are 100 bob, and can the number of painkillers I get end this suffering for me? And end me. Could they make me cease? And I was at the office and I posted on Facebook and Twitter and wherever. And I posted because I knew that if this thing had so much power over me, I had to find a way to deal with it and solve it. I did not trust myself to go to the house alone. I did not trust myself to be in the house. When I was at the office, my employer said, I have this money belonging to this particular person. Could you pass by where they are and give them the money, right? And I am here carrying money that is not mine, that would solve my problems, but taking it to someone else. And I am at the brink of tears. I promise I am at the brink of tears. And I almost cried at the office. So that day I actually left quite early because I don't want to cry in front of my bosses. It's not something that you do. Cry in front of your employers, cry at work. And I went and I took this money to the person that I was supposed to take it to. And they were like at a local. And I met them and they looked at me because they were my friend and they were like, "What is happening? Are you okay?" And I am seated somewhere where people are drinking and making merry. And every time I try to open my mouth, I just feel the tears coming up. I choke and I know I am gonna fall apart right there and then. So they got me a drink and we went away. We went somewhere in nature and we sat and we talked. And I couldn't trust myself to be in the house anyway. So I stayed out of my house for as long as I could. It's easy for me to look at life now and see how dangerously close I was to saying enough is enough. How some days I am dangerously close to saying enough is enough still. But then, more than now, I did not have faith in myself. Now I have faith that I am building bit by bit, trying to find my footing, find my grounding, define myself, define my path, and walk it step by step. There is nothing as ugly as losing faith in yourself, losing hope. It is so scary. It is so defeating to wake up every day defeated, to wake up every day knowing that no matter how much you pour, it's not going to be enough. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to worry about the very same thing. And it's this unending, treacherous cycle. And sometimes it just feels so hopeless and I feel helpless. I am I am better now than I was then. But 27 has shown me shege. Being an adult has shown me shege. I have made a mess of my life. I have made a mess of my life, and I wanna say I am angry with myself and disappointed and all those things, but more than anything, I am so aware that I fought, that I am fighting, that it is not my fault entirely, that it is not my fault entirely, that I am where I am, but it is my responsibility and I am accountable. That even if my back was breaking and my heart was crushing and I just wanted to shatter, I am still here. Things are not peachy. I don't know. I don't know how I survive. I don't know where tomorrow's meal. I don't know where today's meal comes from. I don't know where rent comes from. But I promise I am gonna keep trying. I promise myself that I am gonna keep trying. That I'm gonna keep going. That this breaking, these lessons, they are mine. And if I came to this awareness and this knowledge that the way I was living was not the way I wanted to live, that there are things that I wanted to change, and I stood through the breaking, and I was there while everything was being disrupted. I watched my life crumble. I watched my life fall apart. I watched everything that had meaning stop having meaning. And I am still here. I am curious. I want to know, where do I come out on the end? What comes next? Where do I get to? I want to know. I want to know. I am someone who wrote a book that says limitless existence, and I wrote about self-love and affirmations and everything. But I am also the person who wanted to die by my own hands. I am also someone who wanted the sky to fall on me or the ground to open up and swallow me. I want to reconcile the two. I want to reconcile the person that I was when I was hopeful and confident and sure of myself, and the person that I was when I was fragile and broken and hopeless and defeated, and figure out who that is. So that is where my journey is right now. This is what I am doing every single day. And for me to do that, I am finding joy in the little moments. I am finding joy in the things that I have, the things that are good. I am taking a moment to say, I am here right now. Okay? And my effort, although I'm going to wake up tomorrow and the problems that I am facing now are going to be the same problems that I am facing tomorrow, I know brick by brick, things are going to get better. That when I show up today, when I do the things that I do today, it's not so that I can absolve myself of this particular thing. It's not because I want to save myself right now, right here. It's because I know I want to see who I am by the end of the year. I want to see who I am or where I am when I am turning 28. I want to see this story change. And this story only changes if I see my effort in the day to day as worthwhile and meaningful and impactful. But instead of living forward, it is awareness that when I am here and now, when I am present, I show up the best way I can in every day, even if things do not change now, they will add up. But my focus is not in what will add up. My focus is not that things will add up and I will be able to afford my rent, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and afford meals and have extra food in the house and be able to show up for my family. I can look at myself that way. I can look at the future that way and notice and realize that that is where I am going. But because I will not get there right now, what is here and now? What is here and now? The here and the now is what adds up. But my point and my purpose is not to see the added up thing. It's to see what is here and now. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. If you could do me a favor and grab a copy of my book, that would be lovely. I started marketing Limitless Existence again since 2020, in 2024 now. I have not marketed it in so long. I started marketing it now because I want to reaffirm myself as a writer. I want to say I have written things and they matter, and the world is responsive, and the people who want to learn about healing and spirituality and trauma and self-love and affirmations, they are opening their hands up and saying, we are ready to receive the things that you are saying. I am learning to trust myself again, to have faith in myself again. Bye bye, see you next time.